Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel Thrift Nice. Today's video is a sales update, which means I'm going to share with you a bunch of things that have sold very recently for me online, where I've bought them from like a yard sale or a thrift store dirt cheap and flipped them for a profit. If you enjoy this kind of video or you like yard sales, garage sales, rummage sales, thrift stores, anything like that, and you like to go along with people while they shop and find things in real time, this is your channel. And if you want to see more content like what I just described, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the bell notification so you never miss a video. Alright, so as usual with these sale update videos, I'm going to put an image right here of the item that sold so you can see it with your very own eyes. And I will let you know, of course, where I picked it up, what I paid originally for it, and of course, where it sold and what it sold for. Alright, first item is a lot of LL Bean sweaters. These sold on eBay, and I picked them up at a yard sale for, I think they were $1 a piece. I don't do a lot of LL Bean unless it's the like vintage, made in the USA, something really cool and quirky about it. However, these were all the exact same sweater and the exact same size, just in different colorways. So they made the perfect lot. You couldn't go wrong. So $3 into this. I'd actually been procrastinating for a while listing them just because, quite frankly, it's not really an interesting thing to list.
I'm so bored. So bored.
But I eventually buckled down and decided to just get the job done. And of course, they sold in a week for $39.99 plus shipping. So not bad at all for a $3 investment. Note to self, I should not procrastinate on the bread and butter stuff. It's what pays the bills. All right, next, this was a fun sale. This was another one that flipped in like around a week or so a nice fast sale. I picked this up for $5 at a yard sale. It was a huge bulk deal that I did, and so it was just one of the things that I threw in the pile and it kind of caught my eye, but I'm glad that I did. I didn't realize that these sell as well as they do. It was a vintage Pendleton vest. Now, not all vintage Pendleton is made equal. Not all of it will do well. However, this was a wool vest and it was a Southwest kind of a print. The bolder the better when it comes to those, I have to say. This particular one I listed at I think 80, but it wasn't a really bright print. It was kind of dulled with like some grays and some reds and things like that. You have some out there that are like bright orange and bright yellow, and those do so well. It was also a larger size as well. I think it maybe was like a double XL. Either way, I paid $5 and it sold on a best offer within a week for $60 plus shipping, which I was more than happy to take for that nice quick sale. All right, next item was a mystery to me. Didn't know what it was when I picked it up. Still don't really know what it is, I'll be honest. But it was new in the box. It was a Pile Hydra Marine Amp, I think was the name. It was an underwater amplifier, basically. Not something that I'm like super familiar with, I have to say. But I have sold them multiple times at this point because people who like doing fishing, deep sea fishing, all that kind of stuff, they do buy them. I did overpay for this. Couldn't really find any comps when I picked it up at a yard sale, and it was $10. So I took a chance because it was new in the box. I ended up taking a best offer for it of $25 plus shipping. So I really didn't make very much money, probably just under $10 profit actually, which isn't amazing, but it is a little bit of profit. And I did learn about something new, like a new category that I wasn't super familiar with, and I can take that knowledge going forward and know what to pick up and what to leave behind next time. All right, next, another really fun vintage sale. This was a vintage Slim Jim t-shirt.
Eat me.
It was a ringer shirt. It was from the 70s, single stitch, everything that was awesome about it. Couldn't find a single comp online, I have to say, or nothing that was even close to it really. So I just decided that it was cool, and I listed it around like $100 just to kind of feel it out. It was actually listed for probably around 6 to 8 weeks when I got a best offer of $65 for it, and I decided to go ahead and take it just because it had been listed for a little while. And while I do like to be patient with the one-off vintage items and wait for that right buy to get the most profit out of an item, I also don't want my inventory to become super stale and to become more of like a storage unit rather than a place where I'm just like selling things on and having a good fast turnover. Hopefully you know what I'm on about. So I had $5 into this. I actually picked this up at the same sale I got the Pendleton vest from. So again, $5 in this. And like I said, it sold for $65 plus shipping on eBay. Next is this item. So this was a return from Poshmark. That is a long story, and I think I'm going to tell that story in an upcoming video about sales gone wrong. So if that sounds interesting to you, again, click subscribe and then you'll get to see the story in full when I tell it. But anyway, it came back to me like a boomerang on Poshmark. It was a vintage doctor's bag. I paid $5 for this, again at a yard sale. It didn't have any markings on it. It was obviously older, but the lady who sold it to me was German, and she was telling me about how that came all the way with her from Germany to the United States. So a lovely, beautiful piece with some really interesting history with it. And frankly, I just love the style. I had a feeling that it was going to do quite well. It sold within about 2 weeks of being relisted after it came back to me, and it sold for $74.99 plus shipping on eBay. I actually really do like this style of bag, especially like when they are vintage, and I would definitely pick up a similar piece again, whether it's branded or not. All right, next is a bunch of Wii U games, a huge lot. Actually, it was 2 lots. If you caught one of my yard sale videos from last yard sale season in 2021, I picked up a Wii U console and then a whole load of games, controllers, that kind of thing for $100 at a yard sale. Originally, I was going to go ahead and flip the whole thing, like the console with all of the games, and it looked like I was going to get around sort of like $300 to $325 most likely for those. But it turned out that my brother-in-law really wanted a Wii U console to do some crazy gaming thing with, and so I went ahead and sold that to him for $50. Like I said, I paid $100 for everything originally, so I sold just the console to him for $50, and then I was left with all of the games. So I made 2 separate lots and I put them both on auction. One had a lot of really well-known games, like we're talking loads of like Mario and Toad, Yoshi, all those kind of things. And then the other one had lesser known games. Again, there was like Nintendo Land, like just a few things in there that were kind of like, I don't know, were like left behind when I made the original Nintendo lot. So I put them both at auction and they both sold actually to the same buyer. The one with all the Mario sold for $90 after multiple bidding. They were bid up pretty damn high. I think I started them around 50 or so. And then the other one sold at 53. So that's a total of $143 plus shipping for these games. So that plus these, so it's almost $200. So I almost doubled my money when it came to buying that lot at a yard sale and then selling it off like piece by piece. So I'm happy with doubling my money, and everybody sort of got a bit of a bargain in the process. So that works for me. All right, next is, I don't really know what this is either. I had it down as like a cosmetic case or a wristlet. It really could have been anything. I'm not sure. I think it was like multi-use maybe. So this came from a big buyout from a bunch of collectibles. One of my most favorite buyouts I've ever done. I loved going through and selling all that kind of like crazy, more obscure stuff. It was so incredibly interesting. There was so much profit hiding in there. This was from Hi Puffy Ammy Yummy. I'm probably butchering that. I'm sorry. You'll see it in the title, I'm sure. I'm not familiar with the cartoon or anything like that. But I did manage to figure out at least what it was from so I could list it correctly. This item was actually listed for quite a while. I couldn't find any comps at all for this particular piece. I had it up for $75, and then someone sent me a best offer of $40, and I did go ahead and take that because I think it was listed at that point for maybe like 5 to 6 months, and by that time I'm about ready to take an offer. I only had $3 into it though from the buyout, so again $3 into 40, not bad at all. All right, next is this little vintage Titanic music box. Fun story, I bought loads from this particular yard sale, loads of Bradford Exchange, Thomas Kincaid stuff that did really well, made plenty of profit off of that stuff too. And I looked at these while I was there and I just kind of shrugged them off because I don't think much of Titanic, like when I find things out and about, I have to say. I will be looking closer from now on. And as we were leaving the neighborhood, I was foolishly looking it up on eBay after I'd left the sale and realized that each one, there was 2 of them, were worth like 35 bucks a piece, and they were like 50 cents on the table. So I made my husband like spin around. Back, and I went and bought them up, and I've sold them both now. One had a little bit of damage inside, and the like music box mechanism didn't sound amazing. I put demo videos in the listing to help my buyers understand exactly what it sounded like, and that one sold for I think 20 or 25. Again, 50-cent buy-in, not bad at all. And then this one was in much better working condition, and it sold for $34.99 plus shipping. So don't sleep on the Titanic memorabilia. It's worth taking a closer look at. All right, next item. This was a Christmas item that sold after Christmas. Isn't it always the way? Thomas Picconi, I think is how you say it. I wasn't familiar with the brand, but it had like a mercury glass, blown glass kind of look to it. Really beautiful piece. It came with its original box. And when I originally bought this at a yard sale, honestly, it was almost a year and a half ago now. It's been a while. And there was only one that had sold recently, and it sold for like $125. It was $10 at the yard sale, so I figured scoop it up. Well, it sat and it sat and it sat, and it had loads of watches, and I sent out loads of offers, and it just never sold until now. And it ended up selling for a best offer of $67 plus shipping, which $10 into 67 is not too bad. But like I said, it did take almost a year and a half to sell, so I would probably think a little bit more carefully about it next time. And with it being fragile and things like that, it was a little bit hard to like store and ship, so you've got to take those things into consideration, right? All right, and my last item was actually an Etsy sale, but I wanted to sneak it in here. It was a very recent one, and I just thought it was really cool. So I got this item from an estate sale, and it was literally nothing but a piece of fabric, and it was all hand sewn. It did seem to be vintage, like it definitely looked older. The fabric looked older. Like I said, it was from an estate sale. It was with a bunch of vintage sewing items. So all those things together, I definitely felt like it was vintage, and it was definitely handmade as well. And it was sort of like a colonial America, like needlecraft piece, I think is some of the key words that I used. I had absolutely no idea how to price this piece. It's really hard to find comps on stuff like this. Like there was just nothing exactly like it out there. So I listed it high, I folded it up on top of a shelf, and I just left it alone. It was probably listed again for maybe like 12 to 18 months. It was a hot second that it was listed, but it did end up selling on Etsy for $149.95 plus shipping, and I only paid $3 for this really cool, like unique, one-of-a-kind piece at this estate sale. And I'm excited that a piece like that has found a new home with somebody who will hopefully really, really love it and maybe upcycle it into something awesome. All right, you guys, that is the end of today's sales update. If you enjoyed this video and you feel like you learned anything at all from it, then please feel free to hit that like button, because it tells me in YouTube that you like this kind of content. If you're on the hunt for a fun Facebook group to come and ask all your reseller questions or get to know more people out there in the reseller community, then please feel free to check out my link down below in the description box called Thrift Nights. We're a very friendly bunch, and you're very welcome to come and ask all your reseller questions. It's a very helpful and very supportive group. All right, you guys, I will catch you in the next one. Bye.